What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Duck coming to you from New Orleans, NOLA, the NO, the Crescent City. Yeah, that Big Easy, baby. And today I got some content for you. But before we get into all that, you know what I need you to do? I need you to smash that like button. I'm talking about Absolutely Assaulted. Hit the subscribe. Also hit on that bell notification so you'll be aware of all the videos that I'm putting out. So we're going to get right into it. Before we get into it, also feel free to engage, right? Feel free to engage for your boy. You don't have to put in your 2 cents. You don't have to give your assessment, your nothing like that. Your comment, you don't have to go on the whole soliloquy or nothing like that. But if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, do your boy a favor. Throw some fleur-de-lis in the chat because all the engagement is appreciated. We're on a road to monetization. Help a brother out. So I know I've been on a little hiatus. Haven't been on in a while, you heard me. But yeah, I just needed a break, between work and trying to put out videos. I needed a break from something. The work, my job is what put food on the table, so I couldn't really take a break from that. Plus, I had a few obligations, graduations, my son's promotional exercise, my daughter's promotional exercises. I was done, right? And I haven't gotten a chance to tap in on this Diddy situation. As you know, we just finished week number 2, going into week number 3. Today is Memorial Day, so there was no court today. So what better time to put out the content than now, right? Going into week 3, I want to make this a whole thing, with the week wrapping up. When the week wraps up, I'm trying to put out the content then. I'm not following this every single day because I have a day job, right? So I can't really do that. And it seems to me, I may be wrong, it seems to me that the easiest way to cover this is to be like live, right? So you have those people who constantly updating, refreshing the Twitter page so that they can get the live updates. That seems to be the easiest way to do it. I ain't got that time to do that. But shout out to Ticket TV. He's been covering the trial live every time they're in court. Shout out to him. He's been on this situation since day one. And he breaks a lot of news as regards to this situation. But this isn't necessarily about like the trial. This is about the conversation surrounding the trial. At least this is my video. My video is about the conversation surrounding the trial, the conversation surrounding Cassie's testimony, whether or not she is a victim. Newsflash, she is a victim. The testimony from Don Rashad, the testimony from Kid Cudi. I see a lot of people saying that, Diddy's going to get off. Let's be real, dude. This dude's not getting off. And you shouldn't want him to. The best thing he could have did was take the plea deal. But he didn't do that. And I'm kind of glad he didn't. Because the dude is a monster. He's a monster. So it is what it is. He's the feds got him. Now I know, and here's the whole thing. I was torn on the situation myself because it was like the defense, the prosecution don't seem to, they're not going after, I don't see why this required RICO, right? Like a lot of people are saying that, this is just a domestic violence situation. No, it's far beyond that. It's far beyond that. The SMEF aspect, and I actually had to look this up. So look, I'm gonna look it up now because I was confused on this because I was like, the prosecution isn't proving the trafficking element of their case. And then I stood corrected. Just a little quick Google search because I'm not no lawyer. I'm not no prosecutor. I'm not no defense attorney. I didn't go to law school. So I technically can't, this is a layman's point of view, right? Based on my limited knowledge of the law, I was like, the prosecution they're not proving trafficking because Diddy gave money to have escorts. He didn't receive money. Unless they can prove that he actually accepted money in exchange for having relations with Cassie, then they didn't prove the trafficking element of it. But I stood corrected. So let's give this a little quick Google search. And newsflash, I didn't go to keyboarding class, so I'm not the fastest type in the world. So how we want to word this? Let's see. You charge you pay for. Okay, we're gonna word it like that. Let's see. And this exactly what I got. So let's go to number 2. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. I want to zoom in on this in particular. There we go. All right. Human trafficking involves the exploitation of individuals for labor, services, or commercial schmex acts through force, fraud, or coercion. So that was the number 1, right? A lot of people were saying that this is just a domestic situation between Diddy and Cassie, but the force, the fraud, and the coercion lands it under the smoke. Okay, so Diddy's done. Like let's put this all to rest. Y'all can do your own Googles. That's put to rest. She was coerced. You know what I'm saying? That right there. This right here, he's being charged with this right here because of this right here. And the force, fraud, and coercion. Trafficking specifically involves compelling someone to engage in commercial schmex acts through force, fraud, or coercion, or when a minor is involved. Now, we don't know. We've heard rumors. Nothing's been confirmed. We've only heard rumors that there may be minors involved. Okay, this is not the one that I was looking for. Trafficking. Okay, how and paying for schmex can intersect. Trafficking can involve night walkers. Traffickers may force victims into night walking, and paying for schmex in such cases could contribute to the demand that fuels trafficking. So basically what they're saying is by Diddy, and look, y'all didn't even see it because I didn't even pull the screen up. There we go. So trafficking, right? Force, fraud, or coercion by Diddy, forcing and coercing Cassie, it falls under this. Okay? He's done. Okay? And this sentence, like I just read, force, fraud, and coercion are usually required for trafficking charges involving adults. Simply paying for a schmex with an adult who is willingly engaged in prostitution, generally not considered trafficking. It's generally not. Let's go here. In conclusion, paying for schmex is a crime in itself. However, it becomes linked to human trafficking when force, fraud, or coercion is used to compel the person providing schmexual services, or when the person is a little one. To be charged with trafficking, one generally needs to be involved in a force, fraud, or coercion aspect of exploitation, not just the payment for services. But I also read this, and I cannot find it because I didn't word it like I did when I did it on my phone. But basically, a prior Google search that I did on this situation, it basically said, let me word this correctly. It basically said, by paying, you are contributing. So if you're a trafficker, right, and I paid you for said things that you're trafficking, right? By me paying you, I am contributing to the demand of that trafficked item. Therefore, I can fall under a person who is a trafficker because I'm contributing to the demand. If I didn't have the demand for it, you couldn't sell it to me, if that makes sense. It should make sense. I'll put it in simple words. If I didn't contribute to the demand, if I didn't demand it, you didn't have nobody to sell to. So therefore, I am engaging in trafficking. And I hope that makes sense to you guys. I wanted to, when I got into this, I mean, I already knew I wanted to get into this trial, right? What Diddy did to Cassie was deplorable, right? Diddy's a horrible human being. And that's not to take away from Cassie, right? It's not to take away that Cassie didn't do her own dirt. Because I'm pretty sure she did. She's not innocent in the situation whatsoever, right? But at the same time, there's a power dynamic that people aren't taking into consideration, right? Yes, Cassie engaged in a lot of these things. Cassie also sent text messages saying that she was willing, and some text messages said that she would initiate them. And I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a psychologist, but I think that things like Stockholm syndrome come into play. And I think the power dynamic can't be forgotten. Diddy has the power. So in order to please the person with the power, you're going to do certain things, if that makes sense. So if you know that the person with the power likes certain things and you want to be fed, you want to have the clothes, you want to have the cars, you want to have the money, you want to be able to provide for your family, your mother, father, sister, brother, what have you, and you don't have the power, you have to go to the person with the power to get it. And if you know the person with the power likes certain things, you're going to provide those certain things for that person. Also, when it comes to the rugs, when it comes to the substances, right? If this person, especially that dog food or dog food like substances, dog food like tablets, right? Tablets that have the dog food and not necessarily illicit or illegal, people get a dependency on that. And if you, as the person in power, if I know you like a certain thing and I need my fix, and the only way I'm going to be able to get my fix is if I give you what you desire, me as the person that's not in power, I'm going to do what the person in power wants me to do in order for me to get said fix. So, and I see a lot of people saying that, oh, when the defense came, the defense was cooking. They caught Cassie. Cassie didn't do that good. They caught Dawn Richards and they didn't do that great. I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all watched trials before, but there's ups and downs, there's ebbs and flows. So the prosecution, they direct, right? They're direct. They're gonna put forth their case. If you're paying for good lawyers as a defense, on the defense side, if you're paying for good lawyers, they're gonna be able to pick apart some things. They're gonna be able to catch the person on the stand and maybe not a lie, but they're gonna make them be able to slip up. And I don't know if you know this, Brian Steele is Diddy's lead attorney. So Brian Steele is amazing at his job. He just got thug off, right? There's a reason Brian Steele is there. If anybody can get him off, Brian Steele will. He's not getting off. Just so you know, he's not getting off. Let me bring it back. The coercion, the force, all of this is coming into play. It's going to come into play. Force, fraud, and coercion. He forced her through physical violence and coerced her through physical violence. And not only coerced her physical violence, but I'm sure a whole lot of love bombing, a whole lot of flower bringing, a whole lot of gifting. All of that falls under coercion and force. I see a lot of people also, and this is just a recap of everything that I thought was pertinent in the situation, right? A lot of people were saying that Kid Cudi was a snitch. Come on now, Kid Cudi ain't in no kind of gang or nothing, bro. Come on, dude. Let me tell you, bro, he better than me because Diddy burned my stuff. I want it back, be it in blood or whatever. Like I would have went. I mean, he did the right thing. He went to the authorities right then and there. And then the whole supervillain thing, that was hilarious. Dawn Richards, they busting Dawn Richards in. It wasn't even a lie. It was more so hearsay. Like she didn't witness it firsthand, right? The the exchanging of substances, right? But they got them on force, fraud, and coercion. Now, where does the RICO come into play, right? Where does the RICO come into play? We get the trafficking, but where does the RICO come into play? The RICO comes into play when you're talking about the substances, because the substances is what's going to and the trafficking. Because you see, what Diddy was doing was using the funds of his company to pay for said things, and that's illegal. Also, when it comes to the substances, he would have people pay for the substances with their own money, and he would reimburse those people with funds from the company. And if me, as your underling, do something for you, my superior, that's where the whole conspiracy, that's where the whole racketeering thing comes into play. It's a racket once illegal things happen under the guise of a business entity. But look, I'm not going to go too far into the weeds. I did have this that I wanted to play from Gene Deal, because I thought this was a great point that he made. It was a great analogy. Shout out to Gene Deal. Shout out to the Art of Dialogue. They've been covering this from the start. Gene Deal's been on it. I got some questions. Gene Deal isn't like, I don't look up to this dude as he's standing up for this and he's standing up for that. I think there's some questionable things about Gene Deal, but if somebody makes a point, they make a point, and this brings home a lot of stuff for me.
So how was it? Take me through it.
Well, the prosecution did a great job. It was certain people like, you see, I think her name Dawn, you know what I'm saying? She was in Danity Kane. She didn't do so well, but she didn't do bad, because what happened is there's this, and this is what people don't understand. She set an atmosphere of fear. And then people were saying this, bro. Oh, she went back once. She went back twice. She went back 8 times. She went back 20-some times to him. How could she be scared of him? No disrespect to Dawn for making this analogy. You got people that kick their dogs. You got people that beat their dogs. What do their dog do the next day? Come back and lick their hand.
That's the whole thing, especially when the power dynamic comes into play, right? So I know that if I defy you, if I go against you, right, there's a chance that I may not be able to provide for my family. There's a chance that not only if I fall out with you, but you can make a phone call and make sure that I never work in this business again. Or if I fall out with you, based on what I've heard about your reputation, you can get me and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, my family can investigate it. There's already rumors that you had something to do with Biggie. You had something to do with Pac, and nothing happened. You're still walking free. You have all these connections. There's rumors that you have someone in the feds or something like that. He has somebody that worked for the U.S. government, not government, but the one of these law offices for the United States of America. He's got connections with the police, allegedly. These are all rumors. So if I have this in the back of my mind, that you allegedly have these things, you have connections in government, and connections in law enforcement. Allegedly, this is all alleged. If you have all of these things, you can, and you threatening me, saying that you can get me knocked off, and there's no repercussions for it. Why would I buck back? Of course I'm going to come, not me, but of course a person will keep coming back if that's their livelihood. They're depending on you. Diddy was feeding them. Not well, because he screwed over everybody that he came across. Not necessarily well, but they're all in this entertainment business. This is the way that they feed their family. Let's run it back, because this was a great point.
She'd be scared of him. No disrespect to Dawn for making this analogy. You got people that kick their dogs. You got people that beat their dogs. What do their dog do the next day? Come back and lick their hand. because that person feeds them. That person is what gives them a house over their head, a roof over their head. That person's the one who put water in their bowl, food in their bowl. See, what people don't understand about Puff is this, is that he held the entertainment grip, especially for the people who was his former artists, in a chokehold. If you didn't do what he say do, if he didn't like you, you would never ever work for Bad Boy or anybody in the entertainment business again. He did it to Kirk Burroughs. See, when people look at her, oh, her testimony was terrible. Her testimony, she didn't remember this, she didn't remember that. You ain't got to remember everything. But some of us have a great memory, and we do. And I applaud her for even trying, you know what I'm saying? When in fact, you know what I'm saying, she's a person that is a victim. She's a victim, bro. You know, these people who was around him and had to work with him came out, and that's what you find in the trial, that they were being victimized. And people around them that was there saw it, didn't say nothing, and didn't do nothing.
If we're not mistaken, Dunn, she testified that Diddy, he threw a skillet of eggs at Cassie, right?
Well, I don't know if that was Dawn. What happened was one of the PAs, you know, his personal assistants, I think that was George something. I don't know his last name. I think that was George. He said he came in and he had a bowl of apples, and it was Gina. This nigga was bold not to laugh, man, that he was just throwing them apples as hard as he can, hitting Gina with some apples, dog. That's like throwing a brick at somebody almost.
Shout out to the Art of Dialogue. You know, they've been on it from day one, along with Ticket TV. Shout out to Ticket TV. Shout out to Tisa Tales. You know, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of everybody that I just mentioned, but shout out to everybody that's been covering this situation. Y'all, I can't hate. Everybody's doing a hell of a job covering it. But I mean, like, let's keep it real, bro. It's starting to come off, and I hate to say it. There's this YouTuber, can't remember her name, but shout out to her. She's a defense attorney, criminal defense attorney. It's almost coming off as people just defending the worst people, like people defending Chris Brown, people defending Tory Lanez, people defending R. Kelly. Like it's starting to become a pattern. Now, I don't want nobody to be prosecuted. You know, I want everybody to get their fair. I want everybody to get their fair trial or whatever have you. But it's almost coming off as like we defending the worst of the worst people. Like none of these people will deny that Diddy assaulted Cassie on numerous occasions, right? And they're saying that this shouldn't be a RICO. This should only be a DV situation. Granted, it seems as though it was upon initial, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. Upon initial review of the situation, I would say I would agree with it. But on further, like once I got the knowledge, I've listened to lawyers and everything like that. Once I got the knowledge, it's clear cut RICO. It's clear cut RICO. My theory when it first happened, I thought the RICO situation and a SMEX trafficking, because I couldn't see it. I didn't know that just engaging in the act of taking people from across state lines, even though you're paying, I didn't know that contributed, that could be considered trafficking. I thought that he would have to accept money for Cassie doing things, right? But upon further review, I was wrong. But like I said, initially I thought that this was me, conspiracy, tin hat. I thought they were overcharging Diddy just to dead the situation. They were overcharging him. They weren't going to be able to prove it. He was going to get off, and this would dead the situation for people higher than him. So Diddy's he's the scapegoat for the people higher than him. So once he gets off, the whole situation's dead. That was my initial conspiracy theory until I further investigated, and dude, they got Diddy dead to rights on the racketeering, the trafficking, all of it, the RICO. They got him dead to rights. And hey, if he engaged in all these things, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, you just want to see the black man go down." Hey, I ain't with all that black man. I love my people. I love my people, but I ain't defending nobody. I ain't defending a soul who does demonic stuff. I don't care about your skin color. I don't care about none of that. And I wish people stop using that excuse. Oh, you just want to see the black man. Oh, you or Uncle Tom or this and that. No. If he's doing devious stuff, he needs devious consequences. Straight up. Look, that's all the time I got for y'all today. Make sure you smash that like button for me. Subscribe, hit that bell notification so you'll be aware of all the videos I'm putting out. And hope, I want to roll to monetization. Help a brother out. Give me some engagement in that comment section. Drop some fleur-de-lis if you don't want to leave your comment, And always remember, give maximum effort in all your endeavors. And I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.